Hi guys, welcome back to How Makes Up. I'm here today with the lovely Lily Pebbles in my studio, and keep watching to see the look we did on her. So I'm really excited. We're going to do quite a nice kind of classic look, probably using quite a lot of rich chocolates and a kind of suit-all makeup really, but something a little bit special at the same time. So I'm going to start with Lily's skin, prepping it with a little bit of the Sensai Silk, and this is just a beautiful, I'd say it's like a hybrid between a primer, a serum and a moisturiser. It kind of does a lot of things in one. It's quite a thin fluid, this is. It's quite nice and fine. Nice. Yeah, it's really nice. It's really thin, but it really packs in the moisture. Just popped a bit of 8-hour Elizabeth Arden cream as well on Lily's lips, just so they're all prepped for later. So foundation I'm going to work with today is one by RMK, and it's their liquid foundation. I really love RMK. I think it's one of those brands that doesn't really get enough shout outs. Is it a brand you've tried before?
Yeah,
Lily?
I really like the creamy foundation.
Oh yeah, the one in the bigger pot. Yeah, that's really, really nice, especially if you've got drier skin. That's lovely. So the shade I'm using on Lily is 102, and it doesn't come with a pump, that's the only downside. But what I love about this foundation is it's very elastic on the skin and it makes it look very youthful. And I'm going to use, what brush to use on Lily? I feel like, what brush? I know you love this one, don't you? You love the Bobbi Brown one, which I also love. I've got a couple of those. But I might use today, I feel like a bit of trusty old favourite, one I've not used for ages, is my MAC one. The number's pretty much rubbed off. I think it's 188, but I do love a little duo fibre brush now and then.
It's nice and small.
It is. I think that's it. You can really get into kind of round the nose and just work the product in well, and it kind of disperses it but lets you build it where you want more. So I always start around the centre of the face. So you can see with this foundation now it kind of definitely goes lighter as soon as it makes contact with the skin.
I know I'm going to leave here today with like a list of things I want to buy.
A big shopping list.
Yeah.
And take a little bit from the top of the nose towards the head and just blend out to nothing. Is it funny having someone do your makeup, Lily?
It's really nice. It's so relaxing.
Try not
to fall asleep.
So a product I'm going to go with next, which I think you guys have seen a lot on my channel, is the Mercier Eye Basics, and this is in Flax, and I absolutely love this product. I think it's one of those products I always go back to. It is available in different shades, but what it does, it kind of takes away any fatigue in the eye, and it just kind of lifts as well really nicely. Just use kind of on the eyelid. So even if you're just using this like as a base, you can use it as like a primer for your eyeshadow. But I just love how it kind of lifts the eyelids, especially if you're just wearing like a kick of liner or something, or just mascara even. With this, it just really lifts and starts to help conceal on the actual eyelid itself. So I'm just giving them a groom first, and I think with brows, just look at the shape. Obviously Lily's got a natural, more fuller brow, so I don't want to add too much more, just kind of even out any little gaps. And for that, I'm going to use a bit of Anastasia brow powder. I have got the brow palette, which is very handy if you're a makeup artist. I appreciate you're not going to want the whole lot if you're not a makeup artist, but you can buy these individually as well. So just here, I'm just going to add a teeny bit more into Lily's arch, and I always think go for something that's more greigey, or you just don't want anything with red in when you're doing your brows, otherwise it will really show up, especially on camera. So I mean, Lily needs hardly anything. I'm just adding the tiniest bits just to give a little bit more shape. So I have a bit of the MAC clear brow gel, and I'm just going to pop that onto Lily's brows. And if it's quite a new brow gel, sometimes it's good just to take a bit of the excess off on a tissue. So for Lily's eyes, I'm moving on, and we're going to take a bit of the Charlotte Tilbury Sophisticate palette. Now that Mercier eye base as well, that'll just act as like a nice primer as well, so they'll glide on really easily. And I think these kind of colours, it's almost like a palette every girl should own, like a good palette of good matte shades, because you can kind of contour with these as well in the eye, you can shape the eye. They're just really, really good.
Sold it to me.
I'll take two.
On it.
So next thing I'm going to do on Lily is I'm going to take a little Bobbi Brown gel liner. I'm going to take sepia ink, and we're going to make kind of a nice flick on top of the eyes, but so that it kind of softens into the brown, so you get that lash definition, but it still gives like a smoky effect. So, and this is a really nice kind of dark matte brown. So I'll show you with this brush. So I'm going to create the flick first, and this is just going to elongate Lily's eyes as well. And then if you look straight ahead at me, so by looking straight ahead, you can see how much room you've got, and I'm just pulling out, and I'm literally going as far as that to start with, so there's a little line so I can see where I'm then going to kind of join up and go along. And again, if you've got really small eyes, you don't have to go all the way along, you could go from kind of halfway and then stop, and you can just lean it into the kind of roots of the lashes and just use it to kind of use your lashes as like a tracing point, and then just join it back up to where you created your flick. And just thicken that up slightly. And open. So you can see now with the kind of flick on, just lifts the eyes up a little bit. It gives lift and it elongates a little bit as well. So going back to the Charlotte Tilbury palette now, I'm going to mix a bit of the grey and the brown together on a pencil brush. So I'm just taking it as well as a pencil brush. And I just want to kind of soften and smudge that line even more now. I'm just going to run it over what I've already done, just to smoke it up a little bit more. So just run the pencil brush. And this is where you get that really nice kind of soft, hazy eye. And then with that pencil brush, I'm going to start to take a little bit of that into the crease. But does it look down for me, Lily? So kind of from where your flick ends. And then just buff that a little bit through the socket. So I'm just doing the same process on this side, guys. I'm just feathering that through so you can see where the kind of tick meets. I'm just like pulling that out a little bit so it becomes ever so slightly more winged. So I'm just mixing the sably shade and the dark shade. So taking a bit of matte coffee pencil, which again is one of my favourite kind of classic dark deep brown pencils, I'm going to run that along Lily's waterline. So I'm keeping it closer to the lashes really, rather than like all the way along. And then I'm going to take the MAC brush that I use for the eyebrows and I'm dipping it into the dark brown that's in the Charlotte Tilbury palette. And I'm taking that sort of from where the tick goes down, so you almost give it a bit more of a feline shape actually. So then what I'm going to do is just take that almost like into the inner corner a little bit, so it then kind of opens the eye up a little bit more. So I'm going to use a drugstore mascara. The Max Factor False Lash is one that I really like actually, and I always go back to. I don't know if you've tried this one.
I really like Max Factor mascara.
I think they're really good. If you've got long lashes like Lily, what you can do is just take the wand and just press it into the top of the lashes. And then if you use something like a fan comb, so this is a MAC one, you can just kind of scoop off any excess, just so they kind of go a bit softer again. So I'm taking a pair of RMK eyelash curlers. So if you turn, are you scared, Lily?
A little bit.
Okay, we'll see how we get on. I
Yeah,
may hand them
it'll
to
be
Lily
fine.
so she could do them herself, but let's see. So if you turn your head that way for me, Lily, and then if you keep looking at your hand, that's the best thing to do. So just keep looking down. Does that feel okay?
Yeah.
Good. And I'm just going to give a couple of squeezes. And I'm going to tilt it back ever so slightly as long as it feels comfortable. So I'm just going to lift the lid and pop a good few coats of mascara on.
In black or brown?
Black this is, yeah. I think once you've got the kind of brown eye, I actually really like black mascara against it. It just makes it all kind of come together. And then what's really important to get a really thick black lash is go back in again with the MAC comb, and then you take your brush and you just want to take a bit of the excess off the brush. You're going to paint the tops, because so often with eyelashes, you can still see kind of, not many people naturally have fully black lashes. So you're literally just kind of painting them like a painting. What I'm going to add is a bit of the MAC Prep and Prime, and it's the lighter tone one, which is called Light Boost. I don't know if you tried these, but these are quite nice mixed with the Radiant Creamy Concealer. So those are the two I'm going to be using. So I'm going to do a couple of dots, first of the medium one. Look out for me, Lily.
That custard or vanilla?
Custard. And a Real Technique setting brush, which I think is the best for concealer.
Me
It just,
too.
yeah, it is of all the expensive brushes I have, I've yet to find as good a concealer brush as this one.
No one else I know really uses that for concealer, but
I just
I'm
think
obsessed.
It buffs it so well.
Yeah, it's
I
perfect
think
size.
it must be something to do with the bristles as well on this. It just works so well under the eyes. I'm then going to take the MAC Prep and Prime, and this is in Light Boost, which is a little bit lighter, but it's still got that nice yellow undertone, so definitely going to be a good one for counteracting blue or any tones you kind of want to get rid of. So if you look up for me, Lily, so I'm going to do a little bit here, and what I'm going to do is a couple of dots here. So that's the kind of pattern you're doing, just so you can lift the eye as well, which again makes a really big difference.
I always get quite dark in the outer corners of my eye.
Yeah, I just find here, as soon as you blend concealer here, it lifts the face. It's like a little facelift cheat. Okay, so the next product I want to use on Lily is the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder, and I love this under the eyes. I don't know if you've tried this before, Lily. No. It's quite nice. It just kind of lifts under the eyes again. It's nice in photographs. It's very, very subtle, and I find it doesn't disturb the concealer, but at the same time it doesn't build any layers onto the makeup. So I'm going to take my Bobbi Brown. This is the eye blender brush, which I love for powder.
I've never used it
I
for powder.
love it. My big thing with powder is I like the tiniest amount, but for it to be most effective. So again, if I'm using under the eye, there's actually enough powder in that lid. So you can see how much is coming out as I swirl it around. And it's literally just a trick of a light. I don't know how much will show up on this camera, but definitely for kind of flash photography, it just lifts areas of the face. So I've got the Ambient Light Blush palette here, and I actually really like mixing them together. I find that, for me, kind of gets the perfect tone. So I'm going to take on a, where is it? The Sheer Powder Brush by Bobbi Brown. So I just tend to kind of mix a couple of them together. And I actually almost like to kind of sandwich my blush into kind of contour, so like a little bit of blush first, just to kind of pick up the light in the skin. So I'm going to take a bit of MAC Taupe and just add a little bit of contour to Lily's skin, and for that I'm going to use a Japanese art shop brush. You could always use the Charlotte Tilbury Sculpt brush as well, that's very similar in shape. So I'm just going to go from kind of the top of the ear, and just, you can kind of put your finger under your cheek anyway and find your natural hollows. And then look straight ahead for me, and I'm going to take a little bit just under the bottom of the nose. That makes a nice bit of contour just there, a little bit into kind of the hairline and a little bit under the chin. And then just to warm up ever so slightly, a bronzer I really love is the Guerlain Four Seasons, which has a really nice mix. You tried this one, Lily? All the different, it's really nice. It's got kind of all different tones in, which is nice. And again, you can kind of, I like the principle that if you were paler, you can just go with the paler shades, and as soon as you've got more of a tan, you just go into the warmer ones. And I like to take this a little bit kind of higher than the contour, so it just blends it all together and keeps it really warm. So I'm going to add a little bit of Becca Moonstone, the Shimmering Skin Perfector, just a couple of dots, really, really gently to Lily's top of the cheekbone. And I'm going to use a Japanesque brush for that. I'm just popping a little bit of that onto the cheekbone. So just adding a little bit to the nose and a little bit to the top of the Cupid's bow of that Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector. For lips, I want to do a nice easy lip because again the eyes are a little bit more timely. So I'm going to take one of the Nars, this is the Satin Lip Pencil, I'm a big fan of these, I do like these. I like mixing them together though, I find to kind of get the perfect shade, often I have to sort of mix a few. So I'm going to take two colours, one's a little bit more nudie and one's got a little bit more pink in. So I'm going to take the more pinky one first, and I'm just going to put a little bit into the middle of Lily's lips. Just to get, and I'm almost using that like a lip liner really, but I just want to smudge it in so it's really, really subtle. So I'm just taking the nuder one into the centre of the lip. And then a trick you can do, which is really good if you're kind of wearing lipstick and you don't want to dry your lips out, or you find you get dry lips, is take a bit of, this is the Ark Plumping Lip Balm. And if you use this, it's almost like a cream. What I really like to do with this is, and it's great again for liquid lipsticks as well, if you find your lips get dry really quickly, or if you have a matte lipstick that you don't want to kind of make your lips get chapped quickly, is take a bit of this and just dot it on top. And what's nice about this is it doesn't change the texture of the lipstick. And so that is the finished look, guys. Thank you so much, Lily, for modelling for Harry Makes It Up.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
So don't forget to use the hashtag Harry Makes It Up and at me at Harry Makes It Up if you're going to copy the looks yourself. And mention Lillian as well. I'm sure you'll want to see people copying your look as well. And please subscribe and like, guys, and I'll see you soon for more videos. Thanks very much. Bye.
Bye.